Hey, confirmation class of 2021. It's Jeff Lindsay, senior pastor. I could not be more excited about you and that you are beginning this journey of confirmation where you get a chance to reflect on your faith, on the church, God's call upon us together as a community of faith for the world. You know, you're talking about the Bible. I love the Bible. I spend time each day in the Bible. I'm a big Psalm and Proverbs guy. I try to read through a few Proverbs and a few Psalms every day. You know, the Bible doesn't tell us everything we need to know about our faith, but it certainly is a wonderful guide. It's the big picture of God at work in our lives, calling us, promising us, reminding us of his faithfulness and his love. So God bless you and good luck on your journey of confirmation.
Hey, confirmands, it's Sarah. So first of all, I think the Bible is a collection of writings about people who were trying to understand themselves and their world and God. And I think it is an intersection of both their wrestling and their encounter with God and how they're trying to make sense of it. And for me, a big thing that I think about when I'm thinking about the Bible is how there's this verse in 2 Timothy where it says how all scripture is God-breathed and useful in our lives. And when I was growing up, that was often taught as like every single word of the Bible is exactly what God would say. Some people think that, and you can think that. That's totally cool. I think for me, more so what I think about that is you look for the places in the Bible that are like breath. I think we look for those threads in the story and pay attention to how those show up. And then we wrestle with the text to discern, like, where are the places where people are just trying to figure out God? Where's places where people are messing up? Where's places where the people actually are capturing something really beautiful? And so for me, some of those threads look like God is love. That's actually like the thread for me. I mean, the Bible kind of says it, right? Jesus says the law and the prophets are all summed up in love God and love your neighbor as yourself. So I think of God as love. God is a creator God. God wanting us to journey in vulnerability with God and with one another and in right relationship, and that basically, like, the Bible is the people trying to figure out what that looks like and how does that happen. I actually love the Bible more now than I ever have, because I think, again, I look for that red thread and look to see the ways that God is showing up in the midst of some really awful stuff. And I think it's really important to be able to critique the Bible, to not turn off our brains or our hearts or the rest of the things that we know. And in doing so, I think it helps us to draw more deeply into that center thread, which is that God is love and God is for us and for all of God's children who are made in God's image and for creation and all that kind of good stuff. So I think it's an important text for us to wrestle with. It's important in the Jewish tradition. It's important in the Christian tradition. And I hope that as confirmands that you'll continue to bring your whole selves to the wrestling and your stories and your voice and your questions and your hopes and dreams. And also that thereby that you might keep writing the story about how God is still speaking and how God is showing up in the world through you. So,
hey everybody. So how do I think about the Bible? I tend to use two categories, I guess, to think about the Bible. I think about it as witness and instrument of the Spirit. And what I mean by witness is that the Bible is a witness to God's history with humanity, God's promises to humanity and to creation, a witness to God's love and God's justice and God's ultimate longing for a relationship and for a creation that will live with God in justice with one another. And the instrument of the Spirit is sort of connected to that in the sense that, for all the idiosyncrasies in the Bible, and the Bible is such an interesting book. I've often said it's kind of like my mother and my crazy uncle both at the same time. So there are crazy passages, and then there are these deep, compassionate, maternal and paternal passages where you just feel cared for. But the church has consistently turned to Scripture because somehow it's found itself addressed, whether that address has been about God's love or whether that's been a kind of hard word for the church to hear. And as any of you who've probably lived in churches know, that the church oftentimes, the community of faith oftentimes needs to hear hard words. And so the scriptures have often been a central um, component or instrument by which God has chosen to speak into the lives of different communities. So that's not the only way to do it, of course. There are many, many other ways. And I hope that you find one that um, is useful to you and that helps it to open up to you in a way that makes it strange, unfamiliar, and yet also enlivening and embracing. So, blessings to all of you, and I hope you have a great, great day.